Hi, my name is Wayne, and this is Type Tested. A short little video here today. I'm just finishing up with this Olympia SF from about 1969, and I thought it would be useful to show you how to change the ribbon on this. Now, for those of us who have a lot of experience with typewriters, who grew up with them, who have a collection, this is easy stuff. But for those who've never been around it, this can cause confusion. So I thought it would be very useful to provide a video to show you how this particular model handles that job. Now, this is an Olympia SF. This also applies to the Splendid 33, 66, and probably the 99 and the Olympia Traveler. I don't have the last two to directly compare against, so I can't say, but they're all basically the same design. So the first thing to do is get the ribbon cover off. Just grab this and pull straight up, and there's a couple of rubber washers in here that these pins go in to hold the top down. Now, to get this off, it's usually best to put the shift lock, and put it in red, and then jam a couple of keys up so the ribbon lifter comes up. That gives you plenty of room to work. So the first thing you want to do is take it out of the ribbon guide, and if you don't like getting ink on your fingers, then you want to use pliers or a hemostat or something. And what we usually do is we will go down on this side and then up and out, down first, and then up and then out the back. Then this has tension arms on it, so you have to release the tension arm and pull the spool off the spindle. Do that on both sides, and the ribbon is now out of the typewriter. So at that point, you just have to put the keys back down, put the shift back down, and you're good to put it in storage. Now, to put the ribbon back on, the thing you need to pay attention to is these guides right here. They are your ribbon reversing arms. So let me go ahead and set this back up like I did. So put the shift key down, it's in red, take a couple of type bars, jam them up so that they hold the ribbon lifter up. Take the one spool, put it in here, note the little stud on the spindle. So you need to make sure that that lines up so it goes down all the way. Then I'm going to put it over here and do the same thing before I thread it. Now I'm going to grab a loop of ribbon here, and I'm going to make sure that it goes in between the two arms of this arm here, of this reversing lever. So if you note, there is an arm here that the ribbon goes this side of, and an arm here that it goes this side of. And if you miss that, your reverse is not going to work. So the next thing to do is the ribbon lifter. And you can use, if you don't want to get ink on your fingers, you can use a hemostat or something. I personally just recommend dealing with it. So you make a small loop. Get this fully on camera. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just so it's easier to see what I'm doing. So you make a small loop, you put it behind the two prongs in the middle, and you put it up under the two catches here, and then down into those. Now, a lot of people are confused about how to get a ribbon through a ribbon lifter, and some people who are less experienced will tend to assume that the ribbon needs to be up close to the type bars. However, the rule of thumb to follow here is the ribbon needs to be as close to the paper as it can get where the type bar is going to hit it. So we have these two guides here, and the ribbon should pass underneath those guides. It should be behind those. These two center guides, whatever sort of thing you have in the middle here, should be in front of the ribbon. The ribbon should be behind them. So if you can figure that out, the rest of it's easy. So we go over, under, over. That's the way I look at it. Now, the next thing we need to do, let's go ahead and put those type bars down, is to make another little loop on this side, and just like we did before. So get a good overhead view. So you can see the reversing arm here. So I'm going to make a little loop, and I'm going to put this between these just like that. So you can see that it's going this side here and back there. So tension, put some tension on it, bring it back out, and you can see that the ribbon is now in place. Now, I want to talk about the tension arm on this I want to talk about the reversing arm on this for a bit, because unlike most typewriters, this one does not require eyelets. However, it can work perfectly well with eyelets, and as a matter of fact, this ribbon does have them. What happens is, as you get to the end of the ribbon, and it is feeding in the correct direction, my take-up spool is here, my source spool is here, so I'm going to run this through for a little bit, and I'll show you what happens when the eyelet catches on that reversing arm. And if this, so it's caught there, and now I'm going to keep turning, and it's going to pull it and push a lever, which has now caused the ribbon to reverse, to change direction. Now, as I said, this does not require an eyelet. So if I stop this ribbon here just with my finger, and you can see the reversing arm moved, and now it's going the other way. Now this one doesn't seem to make as much noise as this one does when it shifts. But whether or not you have an eyelet in there, it's going to work the way it's supposed to, because it's based only on tension. And that's one nice thing about this particular typewriter design. You don't have to pay attention to the ribbon that you get. You just get a new ribbon. As long as it's the right width, who cares? And I also mentioned, with this particular typewriter, this being 1969, most people would want to have some kind of a vintage ribbon spool for their typewriters. In this particular case, this is well within the plastic era, so these spools are completely appropriate to this typewriter. Now, I chose to take the original spools that were in here because I thought they had a little bit of an interesting design in how the ribbon was attached to the spool. So, just out of interest to my collection, I chose to keep that, and I'm discarding the universal spools that came with it. And since us hobbyists, repairmen, testers, occasionally some things that we test, it's useful to do with a almost used up ribbon, so I'm keeping the old one around for that purpose, and I'll put it with a couple of others that I have. This ribbon's actually still in decent shape, but I wouldn't use it for any kind of work I wanted someone else to see. And the last thing is to make sure that you don't do what I just did and put a little schmutz on the spool, on the platen. So, all that's left now is to put the cover on and give this typewriter some much needed exercise. And that ought to be quite fun. Once again, my name is Wayne, and this is Type Tested.